the agenda content.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everybody to the Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners, October 24th. On my right is Commissioner Kevin Cook representing District 2, and on my right is Aaron Mays representing District 3, and I'm Bill Rippon representing District 1. We have a couple changes here to the agenda. We need to pull Parks and Recreation C1 and move it to October 31st, Halloween. And is Mark Price?
Yeah,
He's here. Okay. Oh, I didn't see him. Okay, so we'll go ahead with the IT items. That's it. Okay, item number 1.
Item 3, consent agenda.
I'll move for approval as presented.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk. Number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Commissioners, we have vouchers this morning that total $1,941,751.29. The highlights out of the voucher report, we have our Capers contribution of $355,574.96. We have 2 payments to Bettis. The first is $546,642.20, and that is for the full depth pavement, that is for the construction at 29th Street from 470 to Kuroko. And then the second Bettis payment is $361,277, and that is for the full depth pavement reclamation on the East Edge Road on 37th Street from to 45th Street. Also, we have holding accounts with the state of Kansas for $108,794.88, health insurance contributions for our employees of $134,159.52, and then finally solid waste with $222,848.76. The majority of that is fees charged by Waste Management for collection. Again, solid waste is not a taxpayer supported entity, but I have no questions and I would move for approval.
So, I'll second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Number 2, there are no correction orders. Item B, Public Works. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-378, 2019 with the Schaefer Manufacturing Company, reflecting a price amendment to contract C-251, 2014 for the sole source purchase of various oils, fluids, additives, and lubricants.
Courtney House, Director of Public Works. Good morning, Commissioners. We've been using Schaefer products for quite some time. They sell lubricants, additives, et cetera, for vehicles and heavy equipment. We've had good luck with their products. What they've allowed us to do was extend the service interval. We know that by analysis of the fluids, they've allowed us to extend the service interval because the fluids hold up longer, such as oil and antifreeze and things like that. So I'm here before you because there's a price increase amendment, and I'm asking that you approve that. Questions?
If none,
I have none.
Nope.
I'll move for approval.
I'll second that. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Thank you.
Item C has been pulled. Item D, County Councilor. Number 1, consider acceptance of the Administrative Review Committee's report dated October 15th, 2019 regarding a tax exemption for Global Grain LLC, and schedule a public hearing on Monday, November 4th, 2019 to consider the tax exemption.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Krause, Shawnee County Councilor. I'm here on behalf of the Administrative Review Committee, who did meet earlier this year to review an economic development application filed by a local company, Global Grain LLC. What you have before you is the report of that committee meeting, where the committee unanimously recommended approval of the exemption. We're asking this morning that you accept that report and that recommendation, which is non-binding, and to set this matter for a public hearing before the board on November 4th, 2019. It's at that hearing where you would determine whether or not to approve the requested exemption. I'll be happy to answer any further questions.
Briefly. Jim, I know that this has taken us a little bit of time since Global Grain first came to Shawnee County and then previously to JADO. My understanding is there was some change in the international markets that necessitated them to look at their business model and how they were asking for their exemption. Is that accurate?
That's my understanding. That was a piece of it. There was a change in their business plan, and then the third leg of that was they needed to go through the city of Topeka and get certain permits, and we agreed to allow them to get the permits that they needed to make sure they had those in place before we move forward with this request. They now have all permits that are necessary from the city of Topeka to move forward, so they're ready.
Okay. And then my anticipation is that at the public hearing on November the 4th, they would be going through, again, what their business model is and what economic benefits that they would be giving to Shawnee County in exchange for the exemptions.
Correct. We have invited the applicant to appear on that date.
Any other questions? Is that a motion?
I would move to acknowledge receipt from the Administrative Review Committee and to schedule the public hearing for November the 4th of 2019.
Second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Thank you.
Item E, Emergency Management. Number 1, consider approval of request to apply for the Federal Emergency Management Performance Grant Program grant funds for fiscal year 2019 to provide the salary, benefits, funding to employ the Planning Section Chief and Logistics Section Chief positions.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dusty Nichols, Emergency Management. What you have before you is our EMPG, or Emergency Management Program Grant. And it, just like it said there, pays for 2 of our positions. And just a little background, those positions, to be able to be paid for by that grant, have to keep up with their certification, the Kansas Certified Emergency Manager, and all their continuing education training and participation in exercises and training.
Any questions?
None?
I move that we approve.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item F, Information Technology. Number 1, consider approval of request to purchase a replacement Data Cove email archiving appliance at a cost of $16,033 from the IT 2019 budget using State of Kansas contract pricing through Software House International.
Mark Price, Information Technology. Morning, Commissioners. This item is to replace our existing Data Cove. The Data Cove archives all emails in and out from the county. We put it in early 2014, and since then it has been very valuable in any core requests we've gotten for email. When we went to go renew it this year, we were told it was the hardware was end of life, so we're just asking to be able to purchase a new unit, which will allow us to migrate all those existing emails over to the new one and continue to service any core requests that Jim's office forwards to us.
Any questions? No. I move that we approve.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Number 2, consider approval of request to purchase 67 Hewlett-Packard Elite Desk 800 G4 desktop computers at a cost of $54,806 from the IT 2019 budget using State of Kansas contract pricing through CDWG.
Good morning, Commissioners. Again, Mark Price, Information Technology. This is just for the purchase of computers to go replace aging desktop units that our users in the field, or not in the field, in the offices use. If you have any questions, I can answer them.
Any questions?
Oh, move for approval.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries 3-0. 0. Next item.
Number 3, consider authorization and execution of contract C-380, 2019 with American Digital Security for the purchase of a replacement courthouse security camera system at a cost not to exceed $325,796.16 from the capital outlay funds.
Mark Price, Information Technology again. This is the culmination of a process we started early this year to get an RFP and replacement for the security cameras in the courthouse. We worked with American Digital Security very thoroughly over the last couple months to come down to a proposal we're very pleased with. This will upgrade visibility around the courthouse and in the courthouse greatly. All the people involved, the sheriff's office, emergency management, and IT are very pleased with what we've come together with. And if you have any questions, I can do my best to answer them.
Any questions?
Is there a life expectancy on this type of a system?
The cameras and DVRs do have a life expectancy. I am trying to remember, I believe they say on like the DVRs about a 7-year replacement to budget for. The cameras will just vary. They do come with a 5-year warranty, so, or depending on the camera. Some of the cameras have a 3-year, 4-year, and 5-year, depending on the version of the camera. So at least on the cameras, we would be covered for any additional or replacement costs for some time. But I wouldn't want to speak to what they would say the actual life expectancy of it is. The one we have in place, some of the cameras are 20 years old. From being in IT, I would not expect the ones we're buying would last that long, but I would hope we would get a long life out of them, more than the 4 to 5 years that they warranty them.
Okay, thanks.
Which department monitors all this camera?
The main department monitoring will be the sheriff's office. This system will allow for the individual departments, if they want to have people that can monitor the cameras. Certain departments might have that need. One in particular in the courthouse, the DOC, does have holding cells, and they will monitor those directly along with the sheriff's office. So honestly, any department could monitor if they wanted to. Some of that will be at the discretion of the sheriff's office and need of the individual departments.
This did go through the Security Council and all the different agencies, the sheriff, the IT, the emergency management have all signed off, and it's this being the best option for the security for the courthouse.
Yes, this did originate from the Security Council. We have worked with courts, sheriff, emergency management, IT. We have talked with the DA's office, treasurer's office on how this affects them. And actually, we've worked with pretty much all the offices in the courthouse trying to give better visibility into those offices. So we have, I think, worked with or talked to most of the department heads in the building and how these cameras will affect their employees and make their employees safer.
What is the timeline on getting all this installed?
The timeline, I believe, and I'd have to look at the contract, I know it's in there, I believe it is it March? Is that, I think March?
It's not a lengthy process.
Yes, there is I'd have to look at the contract, but we believe it's about March timeframe that they will have everything completed by. They've been very optimistic and actually believing they will get done before then. So IT will, when they're doing the install, will actually be working hand in hand with them. We'll have a representative.
March 1, 2020 is the date of
Okay,
completion.
sorry. Should read the memo. So that is the completion date.
Me too.
And like I say, one thing is part of their request is we will have an IT representative assisting to make sure the install meets our standards and they're not held up by limited access to an area or, trying to track down the right person to get into a room to get a camera or cables installed.
Are these a much higher resolution than what we had before?
Yes. The cameras we're putting on the top of the courthouse will give much better visibility than we currently have, and the cameras in the actual hallways would allow you to tell hand gestures, other information that people might be doing, so the visibility and security will be much greater.
I would move for approval of the contract.
Second?
All right. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item G, appraiser, number 1, consider approval to request a request for proposal for a GIS parcel fabric database conversion implementation and training at a cost not to exceed $70,000 from the Land Records Fund.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lee Allen, GIS Coordinator. This is what you have before you is a request for to issue an RFP. Just a little bit of background about this. In GIS, Geographic Information Systems, the parcel data that we edit day to day, it forms the backbone of not only GIS, but a lot of the day-to-day operations of many of the offices and departments in the county. In 2008, the GIS kind of went through a major transition, and in that transition, we chose a kind of a proprietary format that was mature and stable at that time. Fast forward to 11 years later, that mature system at that time is now going out of date, and we need to kind of move to a different system. What we're looking to move to is a platform solution that's literally thousands of counties across not only the United States but other countries use this platform solution. To do this conversion, if we were going to do it in-house with current staff, it would take us 2 to 3 years to get it done. At least that's what, when we asked other counties what they did, that's what they gave us. Not only would it take 2 to 3 years to get done, it would also impact our day-to-day operations and future projects that we have coming on and that we're trying to support. So we would like to get a company that is really well-known, that does this all the time, to go through, do it for us. They can get it done within a few months, help us implement it, help with training, and then we can move forward with it. This new system that we're going to it's standardized, so whether we have employees that are learning it new or coming from other agencies, training is widely available. It's easy to learn and pick up. There's lots of resources for it. One of the things that it will do as well is it'll actually improve our accuracy. So if you've ever been out and looked at the parcel search online and looked at your property lines, you might see that they're off a little bit here, a little bit there, as to where the aerial photo are. So in what we do, we don't map for survey accuracy. We're not surveyors, but we try to get it as close as we can. With this new data model, we've been working with the county surveyor to get surveyed section corners in so that we can actually tie those into the system and pull things even tighter. We're never going to claim that everything is going to be survey accurate, but the more accurate we get, the happier people are in general and the better information we have. So I'd be willing to take any questions you might have.
I use this information almost daily. It seems like I'm on there, so I'm glad to hear that it'll be a little more accurate than the old, because property lines didn't always line up. And
right.
So I will move that we approve.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item H, audit finance, number 1, update on revenues and expenses as of September 30th, 2019.
Good morning, Betty Greiner, Director of Administrative Services. This morning I have, there we go, I have our financial report for September 30th, 2019. This is a snapshot view of the general fund for the county. I'll go into a little more detail this month because of our new commissioner, and it might be a good refresher for some of the public as well. As I said, this is a snapshot view of our general fund. Many municipalities have many tax levy funds. Shawnee County, we have those all rolled up into the general fund, so most of our activity that we really need to monitor is in that general fund, and that is what I'm going to go over today. I will cover the revenues and the expenditures separately. I'll start with the revenue. Through September the 30th, we had received revenue of $101,560,003. That compares to our budget, and this budget is the budget through September 30th. It's not for the whole year, it's just for that time period. And our budget for that period is $101,513,787. This chart also shows what it was through September 30th of 2018, and that was $98,382,483. This chart here shows the different income categories of property taxes, other taxes, charges for services, and other revenue. And I'll go through those individually, but this just kind of shows, it's a good visual of how the portion of our revenue from each of those categories. As you can see, our total actual to budget variance is $46,216. So that is about as close to budget as you can get. So we are, for the first 9 months of the year, right on budget. The first category is property tax revenue. Now, this property tax revenue includes ad valorem tax, delinquent ad valorem tax, and then we also subtract the neighborhood revitalization rebates. So this is our net amount on that. And through September 30th, we received $78,775,728. This is actually $1,119,000 under our budget. And as I've explained in other months, that is due to economic development tax exemptions, which the tax exemption was granted after the property was assessed for that tax year. So therefore, that's why we are showing that as a negative. The next category is other tax revenue. This includes motor vehicle taxes, special assessments, highway tax, all of those other taxes other than the ad valorem that's in the property tax category. We have received $13,025,004. This is actually $115,000 over budget for that time period, and that is attributable to the highway tax coming in higher than expected this year. Excuse me. Next category is charges for services. This includes Parks and Rec fees that are charged, Register of Deeds fees, the fees for the jail that we charge for other municipalities and entities that use our jail, and then also fees from the sheriff's office. Those are the main ones. There's fees from most of the departments, smaller amounts, but those are the major ones. So we've received $4,731,283. That is $513,000 under what was budgeted, and that budget variance is pretty much all attributable to Parks and Recreation. The next category is other revenue, which is includes everything else that wasn't in the other categories. We received $5,027,989,000. That was $1,564,000 over what was budgeted, and mainly attributable to two areas. One is investment income. As you know, we budget this so far in advance that we have to estimate what the investment income is going to be. And as we all know, those rates have gone up and investment income has increased substantially. And then the other area is penalties and interest that is collected on past due taxes, and that was higher than budgeted also. This is a pie chart that just shows the different categories of revenue, and 77% of our revenue was from property taxes. Other taxes is 13%, charges for services is 5%, and then other revenue is 5%. I usually try to look at our budget variance and what percentage that is to our total budget. And for our budget variance that we had of $46,000, that is actually 0.04%. So about as, like I said before, about as close as you can get. Any questions on the revenue?
No.
Nope.
Let me go on to the expenditures. And this chart is set up in the same way with the different categories. The categories on this one are law enforcement, recreation, public works, public health, admin services, and debt service. Through September 30th, our expenditures totaled $82,296,681. That is compared to the budget for that same time period of $83,389,000, or is that, yes, $89,193. So we are $1,092,000 under budget, which is exactly the way you want to be on that. You want to be under budget on that. And that is attributable to the different categories, and I'll go through those individually. But as a percentage, that is 1% of our total budget. So we are within 1% of our total budget for our budget variance. The first category is law enforcement, and our expenditures were $36,740,300 compared to a budget of $37,446,717. So we are $706,000 under budget in this category, and that is attributable to the sheriff's office. But you can also see, if you look here at the 2008 column, that even though we are under budget for this year, we have spent $2,719,000 more than we spent in the prior year. Recreation is the next category. We spent $12,744,593. That is $250,000 over budget. You can see the difference from 2018. In this category, we've spent $1,299,000 more than we spent the prior year. Next category is public works. We spent $6,729,354. That is $98,000 under budget. And included in the public works category is also the appraiser and planning departments. And this budget variance is attributable to those two departments. I will mention, as I said, this is for the general fund only. So these dollars for public works do not include the JADO bridge money that we receive each year. It doesn't include the federal exchange program that goes through the state, so it does not include those funds either. The next category is public health. We spent $7,486,425. That is right on budget because those are allocated amounts that are just transferred to them. But I will point out that it is $377,000 less than the prior year. That is all attributable to the fact that Grace Med took over the health clinic several years ago, and we have a 5-year contract with them that decreases our subsidy to them, decreases each year by an amount of $400,000. The next category is administrative services. We'd spent $8,900,517, and that is $543,000 under budget, and that is attributable to the contingency. Each year, we budget money for the contingency. For 2019, we budgeted $1 million in contingency, just because you just never know what is going to come up throughout any year. And this year, we have been fortunate that we have not needed to spend as much of that to date, anyway. Anything can still happen. So that is where that variance is coming from. The last category is debt service. We spent $9,695,493. That, as you can see, is right on budget. We have paid all of our debt service for the year now, so these totals will remain the same. It might have a little processing fee that we have to pay, but primarily this will remain the same. This chart just excuse me, shows you it has the same three elements. The blue is the actual expenses, the red is the budget, and the green is the prior year. But this just shows in each different category how much of the total expenditures are paid. I think this is a good visual showing how much is paid each year in law enforcement compared to the other categories. You also see on this one, if you're looking at this up here in the law enforcement, the top of that, it shows that even though we're under budget by the actual amount, we are significantly above last year's amount. So anyway, this just kind of shows the different categories. And it does really show that law enforcement is the category we spend the most in, and recreation is the next category. This is a pie chart that just shows this year's expenditures, that 45% of all of this year's expenditures went to law enforcement. Recreation was 15%. Public Works was 8%, and I'll just remind you that that does not include the JADO money or the federal exchange money. This is just the money from general fund. Public Health is 9%, Administrative Services 11%, and Debt Service is 12%. And I will also remind you that we've already paid all of our debt service, so that percentage will go down for the rest of the year as the other expenditures go up, and that one remains the same. That 12% will decrease through the rest of the year. So a couple things that I like to point out. As you saw, we had revenues of $101.5 million, but we had expenses of $82.2 million. We really don't look at a net on that, because the revenue, we have received the majority of our revenue for the year. The largest tax distributions come in January and in June. So we've recognized the majority of our revenue for the year. On the expenditures, we have 3 full months left of expenditures. So that's why we concentrate on the variance, the budget variance, rather than looking at a net of revenue and expenses. And then one other item I would just mention is this is through September 30th. Each quarter, I also put together a quarterly financial report, which is more of a summary of what I've presented here today, and I put that out on our website for any public that would like to see that. It's kind of an executive summary of the financials. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Too. Betty, I guess, point of clarification.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, we try to keep our debt for Shawnee County under 10%. Is that
It
accurate?
generally, yes, it's generally around, by the end of the year, it's generally around 10% or slightly under.
Okay. And that would be the overall debt for the Shawnee County out of
Yes.
the entire budget?
Yes.
And then it would be possible for, I guess maybe, I found it helpful as a new commissioner to look at the Public Works total amount of income and expenditures, adding in the federal highway funds,
Mm-hmm.
adding in the JADO money, because it does look deceptive. It looks that we are very underfunding Public Works, when that's really not the case.
Mm-hmm.
But when taken in comparison to, this is just the tax revenue received as opposed to the sales tax revenue, and federal highway exchange funds.
That's correct, yes.
And so if we could add in those other funds to look at the total pie chart as to how Public Works factors in.
I can do that. Also, just to keep in mind that this, since this is general fund only, it does not include anything for solid waste, because that is an enterprise or a business fund that is kept completely separate.
And I would separate out the solid waste, but just looking at, again, I think that if the general public was to look at Public Works, they might make the comment that you're placing a higher priority into Parks and Recreation than you are into roads, but that's really not an accurate portrayal.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to thank you for all your work putting this all together. I'd like to thank department heads for living within their means and keeping everything under budget, so thank you very much. I'm always amazed by the accuracy. It's less than 1% on a lot of this. Next item.
Item I, Commission, number 1, consider canceling the November 14th Commission meeting. Commissioners will be meeting as the Board of Canvassers at the election office.
I will move that we cancel that meeting in lieu of our working with the election office and canvassing all the votes.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor? Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Administrative Communications.
Okay, at this opportunity for anyone to speak about darn near anything.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oaks from the Health Department. Next Monday, the Health Department is co-sponsoring an event, the Strong America Tour. So the speaker will be Chuck Marone. He's written a book called Strong Towns, How to Rebuild American Prosperity. He will be speaking at the Topeka Shawnee County Public Library from 6:30 to 8:30. Many groups have come together to sponsor this event, and I think it's going to be a great event, and I hope a lot of people can come and listen to Chuck. I am reading the book. I've just started, so I can't really tell you what it's about yet, but he will have books there to sell and sign also if people want the book. The other announcement I have is that we are starting our free clinics, free flu clinics for folks, adults, who are uninsured. So anyone 19 or older that does not have health insurance can get a free flu shot. The first clinic will be Wednesday, October 30th from 5 to 7 p.m., and that will be at our clinic at 2115 Southwest 10th. So 5 to 7, walk in. Don't feel like you have to be there right at 5. Everybody comes at 5 and then they have to wait. So we'll be there till 7 o'clock. And then Saturday, November 2nd, so a week from Saturday, from 1 to 3 p.m., again at 2115 Southwest 10th. And we recommend that everyone 6 months and older get a flu shot who can. Again, but this is just for uninsured adults. We do have flu vaccine for uninsured children anytime in our regular clinic times. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Sutton, Shawnee County Solid Waste. I'd like to remind the Commission and the general public that this Saturday from 9 until 1 o'clock will be the annual e-cycle event held in conjunction with the City of Topeka at the Stormont Vale Event Center. We will take anything with a quarter batteries. If it has a battery in it or it runs or anything electronic, this is the time to repurpose it or just recycle it in general and keep it out of the landfill. Everything is free with the exception of CRT monitors, 19 inches and below. There's a fee of $15, and anything over 20 inches for the CRTs is $30 cash only. So if you have it and it's just laying around, now's the time to get rid of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Next item. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, Bill, what are we going to know what you've done this week?
Well, I didn't have anything. So Mr. Cook, what have you been up to?
Just wanted to recognize, number one, Larry Ma has rejoined us from his Asian tour, and so I'm glad to see that the treasurer made it back to the United States safely, and he's back in the treasurer's office. Also recognizing that this weekend is homecoming at Washburn, and would encourage everybody to come out and enjoy the parade and the Washburn football game. So, thank you.
I'm sorry. Commissioner Mays. Anything to?
Nah, nothing important.
I know that Rice Community Center Had a, what do you call it, a rededication? Come on up and tell us about that.
It's today.
Today.
Yes, actually, Tim Laurent, Shawnee County Parks and Recreation Department. So today, I believe at 4 o'clock, we'll be doing a ribbon cutting at Rice Community Center. We've got a new horseshoe pit, 2 pits that we've installed there. And I think we're also recognizing it takes a village and the senior,
East Topeka Senior Center.
thank you very much, Commissioner. And so all of those folks will be present, and I think it'll be a great time, and I would encourage everybody to come out. 4 o'clock.
Thank you very much, Tim.
Thank you.
Next item.
Executive sessions.
We do have a need for an executive session. I want to make a motion to go into executive session for a period not to exceed 15 minutes to discuss, we just have one item, preliminary discussion for acquisition of real property, specifically for property to be used for county services and operations. No action is expected at this time. So,
I'll second the motion.
motion made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor? Motion carries 3-0. We are now in executive session.
On that liniment, just note that
We are back in session. No action is taken. Meeting adjourned.
Sign the papers.
You guys have nothing.
Okay, great.
Absolutely.